Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. Just have a very quick look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. In today's video, there's signs that high pressure will be around the country over the next week to 10 days, so I don't think we're going to be in for a desperately wet situation. Having said that, we are going to have thunderstorms across the south, later tonight, but particularly through tomorrow. I think that's the main risk. Will be across central southern parts of the country through the course of tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. We'll have a look at that on Stormwatch this afternoon. I'll wait for the midday run of the GFS to come in, and then we'll have a look at it on Stormwatch this evening, probably around 6 o'clock, something like that. So this video is going to concentrate on the next week to 10 days. High pressure is going to be close to the country. It's still going to be a continuation of a pattern that we have had for quite a long while now. High pressure just centred to the west. We'll keep it largely settled. I'm not sure we're going to have a particularly warm spell, a hot spell coming up, but will be a lot of dry weather, I think, next week. And at times it could get warmish down in the south. So I'll have a look at all the charts in a moment. Before I get on that page, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all the pages at caswellbiz.com, have browser widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You have to go for read the article. Thanks so much for doing that. If you add to most page, say open out with the content. We watch them, they'll close back up. All these things are paying for the website, so thanks for getting involved. And doing that, just very quick to start with the central England temperature. We're significantly below average for June right now. We're standing at a provisional CET of 12.1, which is an anomaly of 1.3 degrees below average. And this is the old 61 to 90 average as well. So to be 1.3 degrees below 61 to 90, that is a very significantly colder than average month, really, for this sort of modern era, where most of the months are warmer than average. Now, this is provisional. It's only up to the 10th, and it may well be that this is going to increase as we go through June. If we get some warmer weather, we will see the temperature coming up. But right now, it is a particularly cool start to June, and of course a cool start to the summer. It may be a little bit lower than that. We may be sub 12, actually, because there's normally about a 0.2, 0.3 of a degree correction at the end of the month. So if you take into account that correction, we may be somewhere around 11.8 or 11.9 right now, which is a very, very cool month indeed. And if that did continue through to the end of the month, that sort of central temperature, sure it won't, but if it did, it would be one of the coolest Junes on record. But as I say, it's only going to take a few days, but warmer weather, particularly warmer nights. Have been having some very cool nights recently. It will only take a few days or nights of warmer weather to increase that anomaly and increase the central England temperature. We will be keeping a very close eye on it. Here is the 500 millibar height anomalies for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here on the left, the GFS is over on the right. 500 millibars, 80 pounds a beat, is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure is being moved around by a jet stream running above. Red extrapolates to high pressure, blue extrapolates to low pressure. So what we see on both of these charts is an area of above average heights, sitting generally over and to the west of the country, just reaching into us, but more or less centred actually slightly to the west. And this is a pattern that we've had for quite a significant amount of time now. The jet stream goes something like that, so it's niggling in at times, keeping it mixed, particularly to the north, and of course with the high pressure centre just out to west of the country, it means that the air at times is relatively cool, so that's the reason it's been fairly dry. We haven't had a great deal of rain, but we've got this cool anomaly. It's because the high pressure is generally centred out to the west of the country, and not able to bring the air up from the south. To get a proper sustained warm spell, we need to get the high pressure either somewhere around there, over Scandinavia, or maybe somewhere like there, such as Germany. And if we did that, then we would be able to start bringing the winds up from a south to southeasterly direction. As it is, the air is generally coming down from a west to a northwesterly type direction. So that's the reason it's a relatively cool but not particularly wet month so far. Now, in terms of the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles, and by the way, I did the ensemble tutorial yesterday, and there was a slight error within that tutorial, so I had to take it down. Somebody pointed it out to me that I made a slight error, so I've had to take that tutorial down. I will redo it and explain what the error was. You probably won't see it until the weekend, though, because I'm very busy with various things on the website at the moment, so I'll try to get that done over the weekend. Anyway, these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, which is just there and there and there. And we can see that we are going a little bit above average over the next 24 hours or so, quite significantly above average, actually just for a few hours tomorrow. But then the ensembles drop down again, and overall we're not deviating that far from the 30-year temperature average, although later on, towards the end of June, we may see evidence of a bit of a pickup in the temperatures there. But overall, nothing particularly dramatic shown through in terms of temperatures. This area of precipitation just here, or rainfall spikes just here, is associated with risk of thunderstorms tomorrow, so we'll have a look at that on Stormwatch later. After that, you see a lot of dry weather. It's not totally dry. There are some very slight rainfall spikes coming through, indicate that there will, with this pattern of high pressure just to the west of the country, still be the risk of a little bit of rain coming down from the northwest at times. But overall, quite a dry week of it coming up once we get these storms out of the way. So, yeah, I think next week we'll see a fair amount of dry weather. And then right at the very end of the ensemble, the rainfall spikes start to come. That's going into the period for Glastonbury, of course, but don't worry about that too much because it's right at the extended end of the model. And overall, certainly next week, I think we'll say quite a bit of dry weather coming up. The temperature anomaly from the 11th through to the 19th is a little bit cooler on average, and this does take into account the warm weather that's going to be with us through the rest of today and into tomorrow. The precipitation is coming out around average, a little bit drier than average across the northern parts of the country, perhaps even a little bit wetter than average down to the southwest. Again, that probably takes into account those thunderstorms coming up sort of tonight and into tomorrow. So that is skewering the anomaly for the week just a little bit. And of course, with thunderstorms, they are scattered about. So even in this area down in the southwest, where it looks a little bit wetter than average, not everywhere we're wetter than average because some places will miss the thunderstorms altogether. So just having a quick look at the generic chances for GFS for Monday, and we've got high pressure ridging back in across the country, and that stays with us into Tuesday as well. Low pressure could bring some rain or wind into the north on Wednesday, but the high pressure continues down in the south of the country, and then perhaps dropping a cold front down through Thursday. That could switch winds back into the north and bring another push of cooler air from the northwest. Don't think there'll be all that much rain on it, but it may cool off again in the south as we go through into the second half of next week. Never really warms up in the north. And then here comes high pressure back in again at the end of next week, Friday the 19th. Still, you notice, centred more or less to the west-southwest of the country. And then go through to day 10, which is Sunday the 21st of June. That high pressure does actually start to become centred over the top of the country. So maybe signs there of the high pressure beginning to become centred. Let's see what happens as we go a little bit further out. And yes, it does actually take over then as we go through to 300 hours away, very long way out. The high pressure is sort of sitting over and maybe even ever slightly to the east of the country. So that perhaps implies for a chance of some warmer air starting to push up from the southwest. Very long way out though with that. And once we get close to that time frame, the model may keep that high pressure out to the west of the country. Finally, have a look at the EWF. The high pressure ridges backing off the Atlantic as we go through into Monday, with some very cool air with that flow coming around the high pressure at the start of next week, so we do have to watch out. That's some very cool nights once again. Then the high pressure sort of sitting around or slightly to west, southwest of the country through the middle of next week. And unlike the GFS, the ECM doesn't bring down that cooler push from the northwest. Actually, it keeps high pressure just there to west, southwest. So that's a very nice position for next week. It won't be a heat wave, but it will be pretty warm, with temperatures at least into below 20s across southern parts of the country, and that continues into Friday as well. And up to day 10, no real change on that one. The high pressure is still just to the west-northwest of the country, keeping it mostly dry. Again, the air coming around the high pressure is sort of from a northwesterly, westerly type direction, maybe a little bit of easterly down across some parts of England. So it won't be a heat wave again with that sort of scenario, but it's okay, it's pretty decent. Lots of dry and fine weather, and well, temperatures in the sunshine will feel pleasant enough. So I think I'll look at perhaps some very extended dry weather through the course of next week. Could be a pretty decent week. Not all that hot, but certainly very pleasant. Have got thunderstorms though coming up through the course of tonight and particularly tomorrow. We'll have a look at that on Stormwatch later this evening, so come back for that if you're a fan of convection and lightning and thunder. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.